Hey guys, this is a quick video on the introduction of Docker Compose. This is an absolute introduction. I'm going to explain why do we need a Docker Compose, and we'll build a very simple Docker Compose file. Again, it's nothing super complicated, extremely simple. That will say and just an introduction to Docker Compose. Okay. Before that, if you're not familiar with how to build an image from a Docker file, or if you don't know how to run a container out of the image which we create, you can see my other videos on. I got a couple of other videos. Probably you can watch containerize a Node.js application with Docker, which you can see in the description. I'll share that in the description. You can see that first because I'm not going to explain much on that. Still, I'll quickly go through the code which we have here. This is exactly the code which I have created before in the other video. You can see that there. Okay, so here we are going to create a sample node API, and we have a package JSON here, and that has a dependency to Express, and there is a start command when somebody start this application, and we have a command node index.js, and in index.js we have a simple API. When somebody visits the root of the API, he or she will get a response hi from Docker, and we start the server which listens to port 8080, and when we start the application, start the server, we can see that message. It's such a simple application. Okay. And here we have the Docker file. This is the base image. We'll pull a node Alpine. That's a slimmed version of node. Then we will create a working directory. This working directory will be the directory of, or the root directory of the container. So that is user /src. We'll keep all our files to this location. Then we are copying package.json from our local machine to the intermediate container, because between each step Docker will create an intermediate container to run each of these commands. So first it will pull the base image, and before running this command it will create an intermediate container. Okay, because to run this command we need package.json to be copied from our local machine to the root of the intermediate container, or whichever the location of the intermediate container. Okay, and once all the package has been installed, we'll copy all other files from our working directory to the root of the container. And when somebody starts the container, this is the command we need to run, that is start. Basically that start will start index.js, and it will run this API. Okay, that is a quick walkthrough of the code. And if you are familiar, then you know how to create a image out of this Docker file. That is extremely simple. I'm doing that with Docker CLI. Still, I'm coming to Docker Compose because I'm going to explain, or I'm going to show why do we need a Docker Compose. Okay, I'm coming to it. That's the main reason I'm showing all this now. Okay, so Docker, and the command is build. Then we can do like this, then it will create an image without a name, or Docker will create a name, a random name. Okay, but we need a name on our own. Because of that, we'll tag a name. The standard is our Docker ID. My Docker ID is port with which a / we can give test Docker. Then dot means the location of the Docker file. Dot means that we are in the current context, that's the root. That's what dot means. So when we do this, okay, we missed build here. Okay, when we do this, it will create a container, create an image from based out of this Docker file. Okay, it is pulling node Alpine. It take few seconds, not take much time. Yeah, it's almost there, and it's running all the packages. You can see here, you can see what I've explained before. Here in this step it shows running this command, and after that it's removing the intermediate container. Okay, basically between each step it will create an intermediate container. So you can ignore this, that's just a warning. And here you can see new image has been created and tagged with the name we have given. Also it has an image ID. Next we can run this command. Basically we can create a container out of this image. That's pretty easy. Docker run either the image name or the image ID. I'm doing it with image ID, and now it should start. Okay, we can see the server has been started, and here it is listening to port 8080. If you have already watched my other video, you might know this is not going to work because we did not do the port mapping. I'll show what I mean. Let me go to browser and let us see localhost 8080. It's loading up and there is nothing. The reason because our API is running in the container, not directly in our local machine. I mean, it not in the local host or not in the IIS Express, I would say. Okay, so that's the reason we are not able to see anything in the browser. So for that, what we need to do is we need to map our local port to the port of the container. The port of the container is 8080. The reason because we have started the server on 8080. So we have to do port mapping. Okay, that is pretty simple again. Before that, let us destroy current container which we have created. Sorry, not here. Let me clean it, and we can see the running containers with command docker ps. So here we can see this container is running. Okay, let us remove that. Before removing this container, we should stop it. So the command to do that is docker stop and the container ID. That will stop it. Then we can remove the container. So we can remove even the image. Now the container has been stopped and we can remove the image. The command to do that is docker image rm, then the image ID. Okay, unable to delete because that is used by a stopped container. Okay, what we can do is we can remove the container first. Okay, so the command to do that is docker rm, then the container ID. Okay, now we can remove the image. For that we need the image ID. Okay, now the image has been removed. Let us clear the screen, and when we go and check for images, there is okay, that's a different image. That's Alpine image. Okay, that it has pulled when we created the image. It has first pulled the Alpine image, not Alpine. We don't need to remove that, because if you remove that, next time when we create an image from the Docker file, again it will go and fetch Node Alpine from Docker Hub instead of using a cached version. Okay, so yeah, we can save some time. It will be every time what Docker do is every time when we run something, it will go and check that image is available in the local cache, then we'll get from the local cache, else it will go and fetch from the Docker Hub. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, let us do let us create an image again. Docker build, and we can tag it, and we can tag with code with Vijay, and again test image, then dot, it will create an image again. We have missed a D here. Okay, in fact we didn't want to remove the image, but I just did it once again. Okay, for that you'll get more clear. To do route mapping, we could directly map it, okay, instead of removing the image. Okay, again it has created an image, and this is the image ID. So now we can do a port mapping. For that we have to give this command docker -p, then our docker run -p, then our source port. This source port can be any of the unreserved port. Let me give maybe 4000, and the port in the docker which we have hosted, and that's it. It should map the port now. Okay, there is a mistake in the command because we have missed the image ID here. So let me copy image ID, and now it will map the local port to 8080. That's the port of the container. Okay, that is fine, which is working. Let us go to the browser now and refresh. Okay, the port we have mapped is 4000, not 8080. So we should change this to 4000, and now we can see the message here. Okay, to do this we have to go through all these steps if you are doing it with Docker CLI. Okay, that is the problem we are trying to solve with Docker Compose. Say if you are in a production system, then it is hard to go through all these steps to run a container. Okay, only thing we will have is the source code and the Docker file. Then with one command we should be able to do everything. Basically we should be able to automate everything. That's what Docker Compose do. Basically we will have a Docker file, a Docker Compose file, that is a YAML file, and there we'll have a set of steps to do, and with that steps, with one command it will do everything. That is what Docker Compose is for. And as I told, we are going to create an extremely simple Docker Compose file. Okay, but you'll get the whole idea. Why do we need that? Okay, let us go and create a Docker Compose file, and let us see how it works. I'm back to Visual Studio Code. Let us stop this running application. Okay, let me open a new terminal. And probably let us leave the container which we have created, let it run. We'll create another one with Docker Compose. Okay, so we need a Docker Compose file for that. Okay, so let me create a file. That's a YAML file, and we'll name it docker compose.yml. that's a YAML file. Okay, here we need to have a version, and we can give that version 3, that standard version. Next, we have something called services. Okay, that's kind of keyword. Services, you can think of services as containers. Okay, for now, to make it simple. And the container name. So here we can give a container name, Docker Compose container. Okay, before that, let us make sure that we don't have any container with that name. Okay, we don't have anything there. Only container we have is this one, that is listening to 4000. Okay, and we don't have any other running container. Okay, and let us see, do we have any other images as well? Okay, and the only image we have is test image and node alpine image. So we don't have any container with this name. Okay, and we need to build the Docker file. That is next step we need to do. Okay, and what this do is it will go and build this Docker file. And after building the file, what we need to do is we need to open the port, or we did the port mapping before. Okay, port mapping, and here we are going to give an, we can give, because in dash means array, we can give array of port mapping, but we need only one port mapping now. So I'm going to map port 5000 to 8080 of Docker. Okay, this is a simple Docker compose file. I'll explain it again. We'll have a version, and we have services. Services means that's again a collection of containers. If you want to run multiple containers, we can run multiple containers. Probably I'll explain that in another video. We can run multiple containers. Okay, and this is the container name which is going to create, and this is the build of that. This will build the Docker file, and this is the same, the Docker compose file is in the same location as Docker file. That's the reason we put a dot there. And we have port mapping, okay, because when we run the container, we have to map our local port to the port of the container. Okay, that's it. This is a simple YAML file of Docker compose. Okay, and let us see how we can run this. Before running, a recap again what we did, because to run a container we had gone through a lot of steps. Okay, we built the image, then we run with port mapping, and we did a lot of steps, and the basic purpose of Docker compose is to automate all that. With next command you will understand how simple or how easy it is with Docker compose. Okay, the command is pretty simple: Docker compose and up. So what this do is it will create an image from the Docker file, and it will build and it will run the container, and it will do the port mapping. Let us see how it works. It started running. It take few seconds, and you can see it is running one by one. You can ignore the warning, these warnings here. Okay, we got some error. I think we made a mistake here. Yes, that's port 8080. Okay, somehow I don't know, it might have pressed keyboard somehow. Okay, coming back to here, let us see that it already created any image. Okay, it has created the image, but before running it make the failure. Let us remove that image. Okay, we need to stop the container first. The container is running, but let us stop it. We need docker ps, sorry, docker ps a, and this is the container. Let us remove that container first. And now we can remove this image. Okay, okay, and we don't have that image. Let us do docker compose again. And up. It will go through all the steps again, and after this step it will run the container. Okay, almost there, and we can see the message, I'm Docker server and started listening on port 8080. Now if we go to port 5000, and if we refresh it, we should be able to see the message, hi from Docker. Okay, now you might have understood why do we need Docker Compose, because we have automated all the steps and we run everything with one command. And if you want to stop the running container, let me open another terminal, and we can give Docker down. Sorry, Docker Compose down, because Docker down is a Docker Compose command. So what it will do is, when we say Docker Compose down, it will go and find the containers in the YAML file and it will stop that container. Okay, before stopping that, let us see the running containers. So here we can see this container that is running, and let us stop that next with Docker Compose down. Up and down. Up means running and down means stopping. Okay, now it has stopped the container, and let us see, is that still running? Okay, that has been removed. Okay, and I hope this gives an introduction to you on why do we need a Docker Compose and how we can build a very basic Docker Compose file. In the upcoming videos, I will talk more about Docker Compose, and we will run multiple containers with Docker Compose. So stay tuned for that. And if you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification button so that you will get notification whenever I upload new videos. And thank you very much for watching.